Tonight, a television interview with the new president of the University of Vermont. Suresh Garimella arrived in Burlington last summer from Purdue University in Indiana. He was UVM trustees' unanimous choice, a new leader on a mission.
Enhance our research and scholarship and our reputation and renown in these areas, and contribute knowledge for the betterment of society and to solve global challenges.
UVM is fresh off a wildly successful fundraising campaign. Now the question, where is the school heading? Can UVM's brainpower better assist Vermont in solving some of its biggest challenges? And is it really the university for all of our state? We'll find out ahead on Vermont This Week.
From the Vermont PBS studios in Colchester, this is a Vermont This Week special. Made possible in part by the Lintelak Foundation and Milne Travel. Here's moderator Stewart Ledbetter.
Welcome everyone, I'm Stewart Ledbetter. Happy to have you with us, and Happy New Year. As we begin with the Vermont This Week special, we're pleased to welcome to our studios Dr. Suresh Garimella, the new president, as we said, of UVM. Welcome to Vermont PBS.
Thank you very much, Stuart, and a very happy New Year to everyone who's watching.
A lot of folks, I suspect, are seeing you and hearing you for the first time, so perhaps a little biographical information. You are the first international president in UVM's long history. A native of India, you received your graduate degrees in Ohio and in California at Berkeley. A mechanical engineer, which is, I guess, the family business.
Something like that.
Your brother and your father were all engineers,
right.
are engineers, and you now make your home at the UVM president's house on College Street. You're married with 2 children.
Mm-hmm. Both of whom are studying engineering as well.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Under threat of disownment? Well, you have already created some news in your 6 months here, and I wanted to touch on some of the major themes that you outlined in your installation ceremony and in some of your public statements since you've been here. UVM is a terribly important institution to all of our state, as we know, and as we said in the outset, your predecessor, Tom Sullivan, has managed a very successful capital fundraising campaign, and I'm wondering sort of where this positions UVM as we begin the new decade. First, let's talk about your affordability pledge. Dr. Garimella had a news conference in November at which he promised that he would freeze UVM tuition in the coming year.
It's critical that we do everything we can to address the pressures that families and individuals face in their effort to assist their children or support themselves in the pursuit of a college degree. This is why today I'm announcing that I will present to the Board of Trustees a 0 tuition increase for next year. That means no increase for undergraduate students and no increase for graduate students, no increase for in-state students, and no increase for out-of-state students.
No doubt that sounds pretty good to today's parents and families and prospective parents and families. How are you going to do it?
So Stuart, I'm glad you started with that because as I look at higher education broadly across the United States, we all read more and more that student debt is, such a debilitating portion of a household debt. It's second only to mortgage debt and ahead of credit card debt. So, just increasing tuition annually, even by a small amount, I believe quite strongly that it's not sustainable. It cannot be a business model for us. There's a limit at which we have to stop. It's difficult at UVM because we are so reliant on tuition, et cetera. So, and yet, as I've said quite a few times in all my public remarks, I truly care about student success, student affordability, student access. So if a student has to succeed, a UVM education has to be affordable and accessible to them. And so I think we need to put our actions where our words are And so we're recommending to the Board of Trustees, who will pick it up formally, that we not raise tuition at all. We freeze tuition for the coming year. And so you ask a good question, right? How do we do this? And there's no magic here. There's no special pot of money that we hid away that we deploy. It's a question of doing our best with efficiency of operations. But of course, it's also a question of looking at what the university does and trying to sort of generate revenue where we can and balance our resources. So, for instance, one thing that we can do a lot better is to offer different kinds of educational offerings to non-traditional learners in Vermont and across the world. We need to sort of come up with more certificate programs and online education offerings that are modular, graduate offerings, and so on. We need to better utilize our campus in the summertime with things that Burlington's beautiful in the summer, and we need to attract more people to Burlington so that our underutilized facilities during that time are better utilized. And of course, there's, we are a research institution. We do some wonderful research. And so as we grow that portfolio, hopefully we can also support our graduate student stipends, our undergrad research, our postdocs, and so on. And of course, none of this will be possible without the help of our friends and our alumni. You started off by saying Tom Sullivan, my predecessor, did a great job with the giving side of things, and I think we'll just need to continue to rely on those friends of UVM that truly believe in this mission, which I think is everyone.
What about campus efficiencies? Do you foresee program cuts, layoffs?
So, Stewart, as I said at the press conference, this planning that we did rather carefully for the first few months of my time here does not come on the backs of our staff or our employees. So it's not built on cuts. Now, that said, I think that if we are having repetitive programs or, if there are ways, places in which we can save money and be more efficient while providing very high quality. So the last thing we would want to do is to lower the quality of the UVM education while focusing on affordability. So how can we enhance quality, offer the best quality creative courses for our students and internships and community service opportunities and such, hire the best faculty while we also limit our costs. So that's an interesting balance.
You don't anticipate growing enrollment, on-campus enrollment, traditional enrollment?
So this, the way we model this is also not reliant on a growth, because as we all know, there are challenges to bringing more students on campus, and therefore, there are things like we are also going to be we'll make it much easier for students to transfer into UVM. We're going to focus on retaining students past the first year. UVM is among the top 5 or 6% in the country for retention rates. We can be even better and should be even better. So each of those things contributes not only to making this possible, but if a student graduates in 4 years, they also are paying less than if they graduate in 5 years, right? So it makes it more affordable to the students and their families as well.
Well, no secret, Governor Scott loved your tuition freeze idea. Here's what he had to say.
This is a bold move for UVM, and I applaud the actions taken. I think this sends a message to many that we have challenges on our hands, whether it's in the state government or whether it's our state colleges or our UVM and so forth. We can't price ourselves out of the market.
Now, that was obviously a reference to the governor's challenges as he begins a new year, and we'll hear more about that in his State of the State address next week in Montpelier. But it's no secret that Vermont is fairly miserly when it comes to support for higher education. We spend a lot on K through 12, not much on the state colleges and on UVM. You'd like to see more for Montpelier. Will you lobby the legislature for more?
So, Stewart, I think that there's no questioning the fact that we're the second last or last state in terms of state contribution to our resources. However, Vermont has a lot of challenges, and I think we should all recognize them and not expect unrealistic things from the legislature or elsewhere, they're not going to be able to fabricate money. And so, of course, we would hope that they see value in what we're doing. You know, the $40 million or so that we get from the state is translated into $1.3 billion economic engine through UVM. We are a source of great brain gain for the state. As you know, and the governor makes it very clear, and he's very eloquent about this, we have an aging population, we have a workforce that is not growing, and so there are multiple things we need to do for economic development and workforce development and so on, and I think UVM is a critical piece of the answer, of the solution to all of this. So, there may be individual efforts that we are focusing on that help the state a lot in terms of the governor's and the legislature's priorities, in which case they may want to support pieces of it. But no, we didn't build this tuition freeze on a model that we'll get X amount more from the state. That is not going to be the focus of our efforts. We do think that as part of our land grant mission, we're a public land grant university, and I've said again and again that the success of UVM and the success of the state are so intertwined that we need to help the state, and I'm sure that the state's helping us.
Well, let's pick up on that land grant mission, because it was one of the three themes that you outlined at your installation ceremony back in the fall. These are pretty formal events, and as you'll see, I think we have some tape, Dr. Garimella and the faculty and special guests march down University Place, or is it Terrace Place, into Ira Allen Chapel, and it's pretty regal, and you carry your mace. There you go. It looks heavy.
It is.
And in your remarks, you and several other speakers talked about that. We have a little clip from Senator Leahy on just what this land grant mission means.
He sees the unique role higher education can play, not only educating students, but to incubate new businesses, help existing businesses grow. In fact, he told me that a major factor in seeking this position was it's a land grant institution. He wants to see our students thrive, and he wants to see our state thrive.
That about right?
Absolutely. We're blessed to have leaders like Senator Leahy representing our state in DC. And I truly feel very passionate about this land grant mission. It started here in Vermont. Yes. Senator Justin Morrill was the one who wrote that, the bill, which was signed into law by President Abraham Lincoln. And so in very simple terms, the way I view our land grant mission is that the University of Vermont will bring its assets to bear on the betterment of our community and our society, right? We have a lot to give. We have a lot to share. We have great faculty, great research going on, and so on. And there are a lot of challenges in the state of Vermont, including, the cleanliness of Lake Champlain, the phosphorus runoff and things like this, the challenges our farmers and maple syrup producers and such are facing, plus engineering and healthcare and such. So UVM can and will be at the table assisting the state with all of our assets. And this includes, of course, assisting the parents, the alumni that are in the state and beyond. And so, we do quite well with taking care of our state. As I said earlier, one of the greatest needs for the state is in workforce development and the economic development that comes from there. So, 69% or so of our in-state students stay in the state, which is nice, but 31% of our out-of-state students stay in the state. So Vermont's actually a great magnet. University of Vermont is a magnet to bringing these much needed employees and workforce into the state and adding to our population, our tax base, et cetera. Our research capabilities are very important. Our hospital, the medical facilities that UVM brings to the state it's among the most direct examples of that land grant mission and our sort of assisting the state in providing better health care.
Well, you touched on probably the central theme that we hear more often than anything else in Montpelier, which is the demographic challenge. Obviously, in your business, you pay close attention to that. What can Vermont do? In your 6 months here, you've been around the state, you've talked to a number of business leaders and political leaders. You hear it. I'm sure Indiana face some of these challenges too. What can we do that we aren't doing to attack this?
Right. Stewart, you're right. All of higher education across the nation and sometimes across the world is facing the same challenge. We have more of an aging population. We have fewer children and fewer high school graduates. By some accounts, we'll have 15% less graduates in the region in about a decade than we have today. The same was true in Indiana too. So it's not a unique problem, except it's more exacerbated in Vermont. I understand that in 5 years or 6 years, we will have as many working as much of a working population as a non-working population in the state. That's a scary thought, and so we need to do all we can to anticipate that challenge. One of the interesting things about UVM compared to many other public institutions is that we are quite heavily dependent on out-of-state students from the tuition they bring in and so on. So really, that too, besides the brain gain, that actually brings a lot of resources into the state of Vermont. So I think that for the success of the state of Vermont, the University of Vermont needs to be successful. And for the University of Vermont to be successful, we not only need to do the best we can to as many Vermont residents and high school grads as we can, but also do our best to attract high school students from across the region and across the country because they bring a lot of resources, but more importantly, they bring sort of an intellectual vibrancy, a cultural vibrancy, a social and economic capital to the state. So what can we do? I think what we can do is to be really well known as a university for some few things that, I'd love a student in high school in Arizona that wants to study clean water or fresh water to say, hey, UVM's the place where they've got a great laboratory, a living laboratory in Lake Champlain, so I want to go study there. And we have 40 or so professors looking at many different aspects of clean water. So, and there are many other things. We have sustainable agriculture. We have certainly a very strong vibe and research and interest in environment and sustainability. Our Sustainable Innovation MBA was ranked number 1 in the world, ahead of MIT, et cetera, for example. So we have that cachet already. We need to double down on it. And our medical school is among the best in the country. The research that they do is, we really need to toot that horn a lot more. And so each of those things that we're doing, we need to be careful about getting that message across, ensuring that not only students, but also graduate students, postdocs, researchers, faculty internationally are able to understand the UVM specialties and also help our private sector, our companies, small and large, our ski operators, and you mentioned earlier on about the supercomputer that we brought together. So one of the fun things in my first few months here is that we've had some great news. One of them was that with funding from the National Science Foundation, we brought in a supercomputer which now allows the University of Vermont to work in areas that are new and special. You're showing a picture of the servers and such which make up that supercomputer. And what we can do today with this is that we're studying the human-machine interface. We're studying how to sequence genomes a lot better for better healthcare and crops and such. So, and even sort of digital imaging of brains, of adolescent brains, to see the effect of substance abuse on the brain. So there's a lot of new things we can do. So there's traditional areas, there are newer areas, and Stewart, we just committed to doing these things. It's good for our faculty, it's good for our students, but most importantly, it's good for the state of Vermont.
You mentioned we need to do a better job of tooting our own horn. I want to pick up on that just for a moment because I've sensed, and I think I read something from you in the Vermont Cynic, the UVM newspaper, about the critical import of marketing, not assuming that everybody around the country knows about Vermont and about UVM. I wonder if you sense an urgency that marketing our state, represents.
Yeah, Stewart, I, like you know, and like most of our viewers know, I notice, and it's hard to miss that it's a noisy world out there. There's a lot of sources of information, not all verified and validated and such. So if you don't have a clear story and a consistent story and a crisp message, we cannot expect the world to know about the great things that are going on here. I've mentioned several research areas that we're wonderful at. Our students get this amazing experience at UVM because it's a small school, and yet it's a comprehensive school, right? We have a great private liberal arts piece of the school that we're very proud of, and I think it enriches all kinds of disciplines, engineers and professional schools. We've got a great medical school, etc. But people would not know it if we didn't get that message across. And so you will certainly see our leadership team, but hopefully our faculty and our students and all, emphasizing what's good about UVM, what's good about Burlington. Burlington is really quite a special place, as is the state of Vermont, and we just need to all speak from the same, speak with the same voice and talk about how good we have things here. Of course, people complain about parking or such other issues, but if you look at it from a distance, we have so much more that's exciting, which is one reason that I came here, because I see great potential for the university and for the state of Vermont.
I think you said at Purdue that you are an administrator, but you think of yourself as a teacher, as a mentor. You also mentioned the National Science Foundation. You are a member of the National Science Board, appointed by President Trump, and you recently took a little junket, not to a warm climate, but to a rather chilly one. We have some pictures, and I hope you'll tell us what we're looking at as you arrived in Antarctica.
That's right. So certainly I'm very honored to serve on the National Science Board. What you're seeing here, let me just narrate. That's a glacier. That's a very large glacier you're seeing. The mountain range is the Transantarctic mountain range. This is Shane from Danville, Vermont, that I ran into in Antarctica.
It just happened to run into.
Yeah, exactly. Vermonters everywhere. There's penguins, right? Who doesn't like penguins? They're called Adelie penguins. And you could watch them forever, except it was 50-mile-an-hour winds and very cold, so we were falling and freezing. But and of course, this is the pièce de résistance. I brought a Vermont pennant to the South Pole, and that's the South Pole that you're seeing there. And this particular image that you're showing is of large boulders, huge rocks that have been carved into these amazing shapes by wind-blown sand and its action. So you can see how extreme the conditions are in Antarctica. It's among the most. It has the highest average elevation. It's the driest continent. It's really not a hospitable place. It's the windiest, and so there's a lot of interesting things going on there. But of course, it also holds an enormous amount of water in its ice sheets, which if they melt, that would spell very bad news for the rest of the world.
So climate change will be one of your areas of strength, along with your Green MBA, your medical school, STEM. Ask you about sports, because a lot of alumni, a lot of Vermonters track the University of Vermont sports teams closely. Hockey team is having a terrific year. I'm sure this concerns you.
We won the last 2 games. We won really well. I was there.
Basketball, however, is a strength, and you're in the process. We showed you some pictures of some of the new UVM buildings. We've seen a building boom, and you're going to see a new multi-purpose sports arena as well. Is sports going to be continue to be a priority?
So, Stewart, I view sports in universities and in colleges as a great leadership opportunity for our students. In some ways, I'd rather have the kinds of sports we have here than what the Big Ten has and such, because it doesn't, it doesn't sort of, it's not the tail wagging the dog that sometimes happens. It did not happen at Purdue, but one knows about these stories. Mm-hmm. And so really the way UVM has interacted, the academics have interacted with the athletics, I think is a very healthy interaction. It offers great leadership opportunities to our students. And you talked about the building, so there's an investment in the athletic facilities, but while we're going to have a much better basketball court and improved hockey facilities, it also offers a wide range of wellness opportunities for our students. So to me, that's as important as the athletics. And I think one has to look at it as a complete sort of asset for our students.
It's an exciting time.
Yes.
Come back and see us again.
Thank you very much for having me.
Program note that next week, of course, we'll have live coverage of the State of the State address from Montpelier and a full wrap-up with our regular panel here on Vermont This Week next Friday night. Until then, I'm Stewart Ledbetter. Happy New Year once again. Have a good weekend and a good week.